Hello everyone, my name is Michael SK and welcome back to Umineko When They Cry episode 3. I'm pretty excited for this one, guys. I think this is going to be a really good one, probably for all the wrong reasons, but Eva Beatrice will for sure be striking yet again. We have an idea of who she's targeting this time, basically the other siblings and their partners, plus Dr. Nanjo, because I keep forgetting about Nanjo. And, man, these people are so stupid. It's like, whenever I think, oh, they're being smart, they're doing what I wanted them to do. You know, staying together, mostly. And trying to solve the epitaph instead of trying to figure out who the killer is, you know? Even so, they were, just straightforwardly told this time around what to do. They were playing it a little bit smarter. Until they got hungry. And so they decided to send a group off here to the mansion. Here they are in the kitchen to get some food. And, of course, Eva Beatrice is ready to strike. The three people had already arrived at the kitchen and were gathering food supplies. Considering the possibility of poison, they gave up on the alluring fruits and vegetables and gathered a whole cardboard box full of only the safe canned foods. It was very heavy, but by piling it on the cart, they could carry it well enough. Excuse me there, Jesus. Just one of those days, can't speak. But, what's different? It's same old, right? This should be more than enough for 10 people to hold out until tomorrow's breakfast. That should carry them until the boat arrives. The two men were supposed to be focused solely on guard duty, but the weight of the load was tough on Kirie even with the cart. Hideyoshi, who wanted to show off his power, switched to be the cart pusher, and Rudolph and his wife took up the task of guard duty. When Hideyoshi vigorously announced their departure, Kirie frowned and seemed to be gazing into the distance. There was a wall in that direction. No, if her gaze could go through that, there was the main hall beyond it. Yeah, what's got her attention? Well, yeah, that's a good thing. It's a good thing you've got a bad feeling, because there's a lot of bad things that are about to happen. Things have already, started to affect this mansion. This mansion is supposedly in a completely different world right now. Kirie stopped walking and narrowed her eyes even further. At times like this, Kirie's intuition often rang true, even when she didn't have a logical reason. Rudolph believed in that intuition. Honestly, smart thinking. Rudolph made to unlock the back door. When goods were carried into the kitchen, they never passed through the part of the mansion that the family came and went from. So outside the back door, there was probably a ramp used to carry things in. Surely they would be able to leave through there with the cart. But the door's not going to open. Which is interesting. Like, how do we tie that into, like, a realistic story sense? What would keep a door completely shut? Obviously locking it, but it would be a lock from the inside. Rudolph tried various things, first using force, then coaxing it, but the lock was as hard as stone and didn't even budge. Oh, it's for sure a trap. Everything about this is just, screaming in red. With strained expressions, the three of them returned to the hall again and headed for the entrance. The instant they exited into the hall, Rudolph noticed a suspicious shadow right in front of them and yelled. In that instant, a storm of gold leaf started blowing, and gold butterflies covered the area with a gold color. Oh, here we go.
信じられん。人間ごときが我らの待ち伏せを予見したか。
私のせいじゃないわよ。気配は消してたもん。
躊躇しないで。撃って。
Like, yeah, honestly, we found out that that apparently witches and such are actually, you know, vulnerable to gunfire, just straight up. However, it does seem like they're less effective in fewer numbers, maybe, because we were talking about this in the comments of the previous one. It just kind of seems like we got a contradictory in statements, you know, and what we've been told so far in the story and what we're being told now. The two guns spouted fire. The lead bullets blasted right through the magical defense of the pair as easily as though it were a wet paper wall. But the two figures that should have been there had disappeared. Certainly guns were frightening objects for them, but there was no need to fear as long as they weren't hit. They at least had enough speed to dodge those.
ちょっと名乗りも上げさせないつもり？これだから人間は嫌なのよ。
Leviathan was a full 10 meters from where she had supposedly been, popping her head out from behind the pillars in the shadow of the staircase and protesting.
ベアトリーチェ様のご命令により貴様らを撃つ。時間をかけてホフレとのご命令だ。抵抗は自由。されど無駄と知れ。
And that voice came from overhead. Belphegor could be seen on top of the hall chandelier. Elegantly looking down upon them, she proclaimed their execution with a cruel smile. You know, if anything, what this is really going to do is going to make them believe in witches more than they have been in terms of, you know, the suspect actually possibly being a witch. It works out in their favor. All three of them were well acquainted with the inside of the mansion. In case of a crisis, they had planned to run off in separate directions, returning to the guest house by breaking windows or leaving through a back door. Fighting was forbidden, as long as they could fully escape. Yeah, good luck with that. Also, separating? Like, that's gonna be terrible. Hideyoshi really is gonna get out alone, isn't he? The three of them ran into the depths of the mansion at full tilt. That pair of furniture calmly watched them go. They're gonna easily chase them down. Yeah, they're dead. Honestly, yeah, they were playing the game pretty smart, I'd have to argue, but now they're not. The furniture and the shadows of the pillars on the chandelier made their figures explode. And, leaving behind only the sound of a hopping beetle knocking against the wall, they pursued their respective targets. Their speed was overwhelming, and they easily blocked the others' paths of retreat. Yeah, let's see what goes down here. Belphegor was already blocking the way in front of Rudolph, who had boldly tried to escape to the second floor. I didn't know gentle was in her vocabulary, or in the vocabulary of the other six either. What kind of statement is that? Rudolph shot first. Honestly, this whole CG or whatever kind of goes hard. Even so, Rudolph is probably the most ridiculous of the siblings. Like, I can't take him serious whatsoever at times. But even before that bullet could hit her, Belphegor had already moved behind Rudolph's back. She then raised a purple curve, springing out from her arm. However, incredibly, before that arm could decapitate Rudolph, he had swung his gun behind him. The barrel remained pointed behind his back, from the same motion with which he had reloaded the sawed-off gun one-handedly. It was pointing right at Belphegor's chest. Click, cha-clunk. That's the sound of a gun right there, gamers. It was the sound of the ejected empty cartridge finally hitting the wall after the reload. In other words, it meant that the next shot was already fully loaded. Honestly, props to him and how fast he was able to react with all that there. Without turning around, his gun pointing right at Belphegor's chest, Rudolph grinned. You didn't have to throw that in, did you? You really didn't have to throw that in. That was loud. That was genuinely pretty loud. Just like Rudolph, Chiester was also confronting a demon stake in the first floor corridor. Oh boy. Oh, well, I guess there's a first for everything. I don't know what she meant by that, by the way. I mean, I have an idea, but... It is? Guys, I am so cooked. See, while annoying, that was a better laugh than the laugh we've been getting out of Ava Beatrice. The arm Leviathan swung was trailed by a purple curve. It was a magic blade that cut with the power of malice. I kind of forgot that she had the gun. Chiester blocked it with her gun. Even though the magic blade should have cut through the metal like butter, the gun, with its extremely high magic resistance power... So wait, hold on now. You're telling me the gun itself is also, like, resistant to magic because it's the weapon? It was able to block the blade as easily as if it were a rolled-up newspaper. That's kind of ridiculous, actually, but alright. Rapidly 2 times, 3 times, it blocked all of them. Damn, they're actually having a bit of a fight. Human versus furniture. And without missing the opening created with that purple curve, took a swing upward. Chiester kicked Leviathan in the stomach with her heel. God damn. Leviathan was knocked away like a lightly dancing feather before the demon stake's feet touched ground again. Chiester was already pointing her gun directly at Leviathan in midair. From that position, the two women, who had called envy a form of power, met each other's gaze. God damn, she's so hot. I mean, what? Haha. Now, actually, Chiester is a genuinely, like, really interesting character. You good, Rudolph? Rolling down the stairs or some shit? He tumbled down the staircase. He'd been gradually cornered by Belphegor, and had been pushed back into the main hall that they'd started from. No, put yourself in a risky position to be funny.
言わなくても分かってるさ。黄金の魔女ベアトリーチェだって言うんだろ。
Damn, he's putting it together a little bit better than Rosa could.
どうして分かったの？
ローザが殺された時から想像はついてたさ。ローザ、許しな。お前の地獄にお前の大嫌いな姉を送っちまうことをよ。
ベアトリッチ様、危ない！
She'll be okay. Rudolph mercilessly pointed the barrel of his gun at the witch who claimed to have once been his sister. But Belphegor would not permit that and attacked savagely. She dashed, disappeared, and headed for Rudolph's back. She dodged that shot and again headed for Rudolph's back. And vanished over and over, instantly moving into Rudolph's blind spots. I mean, we can all tell that she's kind of just fucking with him. It was almost like she was a fairy. As she blinked in and out of vision, Belphegor incessantly drove towards Rudolph. I wonder if Hideyoshi will kind of like run on back, you know? He'll realize, well, I can't get out of here, run back to the main hall, and maybe he'll help out once he realizes that he isn't being targeted. Okay, again, I'm skipping her laughs. They're just awful. I might just be doing that for everybody eventually. At that time, there was a dull tearing sound along with Rudolph's cry of anguish. Rudolph's reaction to the dance of the purple curve that pressed upon him had finally been too slow, and he'd let it lightly cut his flank. That single wound slowed him down just once. Oh, here we go. It's gonna get piled on now. That led to a new wound, which slowed his actions again. Yeah, I mean, there's no real way that they're going to win against these girls, but it is cool to see them actually attempt to fight back, right? Belphegor's dance began to swallow Rudolph whole. Watching Rudolph's body gradually get carved up, his former sister let out a shrill laugh, which we don't want to hear. I wonder if she was made fun of because of her laugh whenever she was a child. I hope she was. Leviathan could no longer hide her irritation that Kirie hadn't suffered a single fatal wound. Well, envy do be like that. Too focused on the jealousy, comparisons of others and shit. You gotta love that. Like, some people can really, utilize, envy as like a way of improvement because they set goals, but they usually let it, get them down. Too focused on what they don't have or what they're not, and all that shit. It's because it's all anime. You can be calm and collected when it's an anime showdown of sorts. What kind of trust did we sisters have for each other? The sisters are always looking down on each other, trying to thoroughly lambast each other when things already look bad. We saw that in the beginning, right? With, what, Lucifer? Leviathan turned herself into a stake, and the speed of her flight as she attacked was proportional to the strength of her envy. Oh, I love that sound effect. See, I didn't know what that was in the very beginning, but, I love it now.
7日7番をかけて嫉妬したわ。その末に得た私の力と速度を見るがいい。死ねえ後ろ宮キリエ。
Hell yeah. And that should be that, right? The demon stake exposed her true form, leaping about at a terrible speed. The noise from her bouncing off the walls sounded like a machine gun. By now, not really, but by now, Kirie probably couldn't tell if it was a single stake or a swarm of beetles flying and bouncing around. Leviathan was over 100% certain of her victory, believing in it from the bottom of her heart. And then Kirie spoke with an unbelievably calm voice.
ルドルフさんと最初から付き合っていたのは私だったのよ。アスムさんが白々しく間に入り込んできて。
Okay, I was right with what I was thinking back there with who this character is.
ちゃっかりと解任したのよ。ルドルフさんは悪くないわ。あの女が体を武器にして立ち回って。
I love that we're learning about this in the middle of combat, but you know, it is what it is.
アスムさんはバトラ君を身ごもってたわ。そして同じ頃、私もまた男の子を身ごもってた。
Oh?
運命的なことに、私たちの出産日は共に同じ日だったわ。そしてアスムさんはバトラ君を出産したわ。だけれど、私はダメだった。思ったことがあるわ。もしダメだったのがアスムさんで、出産したのが私だったなら、ルドルフさんは婚約を解消して、私と結婚してくれたかしら。でも私は子供を産めなかった。だからアスムさんが死ぬまで、そしてエンジェを解任するまで、私はアスムさんを呪ったわ。嫉妬したわ。
Okay, hold on now. I've heard that name outside of Umineko, but I'm just gonna forget about it for now.
ずっと嫉妬して呪って、そしてやっとアスムさんが死んだ。
What I mean by that, by the way, is that I've heard the name outside of me reading Umineko. I've heard that name associated with Umineko somewhere, but I don't know. So I'm just gonna forget about it now.
私は確信したわ。
We'll return to it, I'm pretty sure at some point.
それが呪いとなってアスムさんを殺したんだって。
Damn, everybody really got magic going on, do they?
私の嫉妬の炎は収まらない。内緒よ。バトラ君を見るたびにね、あの女を思い出しちゃうの。そしてバトラ君を見るたびにね、もし私の子が生まれていたら同じ年だっただろうなって思ってしまう。私は今でも彼女を嫉妬し、苛まれてる。今も。
Damn, imagine two battlers. That'd be insane. Beatrice could not stand a chance.
7日7番、姉妹を嫉妬したですって？
そうよ。
That CG also goes hard. I don't know why, but like, okay, wait, no, that goes hard. That goes hard and a little crazy. Holy shit. Oh no. It's a true battle of envy right here. Okay, understood 100%. I'm like, I do not fuck with women who be a little crazy, you know? I don't fuck with women at all either. But I was just gonna mention, damn, some of these CGs with them holding the guns kind of go hard, but like, this one takes it to a whole nother level, and I'm kind of into it.
18年間嫉妬し続ける女の狂気がわかるかよ。
I kind of have more respect for Kirie all of a sudden now that we're seeing this this true side of her, you know? If Leviathan had the power of 24 hours, 7 days, or 168 hours of speed, well, then the power that Kirie had accumulated was 24 hours in 1 day, 365 days in 1 year, and 18 whole years. Even without counting leap years, that was 157,680 hours. Compared to Leviathan's power and speed, it was more than 938 times greater. So then, even if Leviathan could soar at the speed of sound, 1,225 kilometers per hour, well, to Kirie's eyes, it only looked like 1/938th of that. So then, So then, 1225 over 938 is, where the fuck did this math come in, is a speed of 1.3 kilometers per hour. That's slow as fuck. They say a human's walking speed is 4 kilometers per hour, so it was even less than half of that. This is almost the same speed as a baby crawling on the floor, which means... In the time it took the demon stake to move at a pace so slow that you could count all the bits of dust floating through the air, Kirie looked at it with pity. She pitied the slowness at which it came towards her. What was that? Then she lazily raised the barrel of her gun, almost as though she was trying to swallow the demon stake up with the gun barrel. Wow. Okay. Wow. Damn, she's so cool. And then Rudolph is over here getting his ass handed to him. And Hideyoshi is off running away. Oh, how gracious.
頼みがある。最後にあれがやってみて。
あれとは何か。
西部劇名物のあれだよ。背中を向け合ってから
Oh, come
歩い
on.
てズドンってやつ。
It's more than 3 steps, right?
決闘か。よかろう。それにて根性の未練が尽きるならば、受けてやる。
Rudolph moved his wound-covered body and turned his back to her. Belphegor responded and turned her back to his. Belphegor had an honest nature that was uncommon in a witch's furniture.
言っておく。たとえ私の眉間に銃口を突きつけたとしても、私はお前が引き金を引き、私の頭蓋骨に弾丸が至るよりも早く、瞬間移動することができる。
That'll do a whole lot for his confidence here.
そいつはもう骨身に染みてるぜ。お前は銃弾より早い。
それを知りつつ決闘を挑むお前の度胸に敬意を表し。
Hey, you gotta go out, you know, fighting all the way to the end.
感謝せよ。
お前は律儀なやつだな。いい女だ。惚れそうだぜ。
Oh, come on, buddy.
始めるぞ。3歩で良いのだな。まずは1歩。
そして2歩。
3歩だ。これでいいのか？
そして3歩も歩いてまだ気づかねえな。俺の勝ちだな、お嬢ちゃん。
Is it?
何？
Wait, was he cheating the whole time? Was he just standing there? Was he not moving whatsoever? Rudolph turned around and fired a bullet. However, Belphegor could easily see through the speed and trajectory of a bullet like that. It should have been no problem at all to dodge it. What happened? How was she shot? But a spray of fresh blood flew about. Belphegor had set up an adequate magical defensive barrier. But before an incarnation of anti-magic power, such as that bullet, it was completely meaningless. The bullet had hit Belphegor right in the chest. The pain from the lead caused her to grimace, as did the pain from the denial of magic. You know what? At least you're honest.
今日ダメだわ。魔女の家具ともあろうものが人間に破れるなんて。
Did she completely go down? Like, is she actually just straight up defeated? Dead, perhaps?
恥を知りなさいよ。情けない。みっともない。勝手に這いつくばって死んじゃえば。
I heard a little bit of grown-up Ava in there, actually, just for a moment.
こいつはかわせたんだ。だがかわさなかった。車線上に姉貴がいることに気づいたのさ。
Oh, he lined it up.
大手飛車取りに最後に気づいたんだ。
見事。
悪く思うね。お前が3歩歩く間にそれに気づけたら、俺は観念するつもりだったんだ。
Okay, maybe he actually did take those 3 steps as well. But he was just overly confident in how things would go down.
あの散歩は私手心だったか。考えようともしなかった私は旅だった。
Wow.
お前はいい女だったぜ。
I can't believe it, but I'm pretty sure Rudolph and Kirie both won their respective fights, which is way more than Kanun and Shanun were ever able to do, and they're supposed to be otherworldly.
先に天国で化粧して待ってろ。きっと口説きに行くからね。
Buddy, what the fuck? Alright, what's happening now? As Belphegor slowly fell over, she lost even the power that kept her in human form, and she grew small like gold dust melting into thin air. At that point, Kirie dashed in. It seemed that she had somehow defeated her pursuer by her own hands. As she pointed the barrel of her gun straight at the witch, she ran up to the wound-covered Rudolph.
大丈夫？今誰か口説いてなかった？
ああ、いい女だったぜ。もちろん。お前の次程度に。
Okay, again, good honesty, but still, I don't know about how you act, you know.
兄貴、チェックメイトだぜ。
The two of them pinned the witch down, the barrels of their guns.
情けない家具たちね。人間相手に遅れを取るなんて情けない、くだらない、つまらない。
ベアトリーチェ様、ここは引くべきです。
No way.
銃弾を防ぐ結界も家具もここにはありません。
No fucking way. They lost. Okay, that's a Beatrice-like face. The witch began to let out a muffled laugh. It surprised not only Rudolph and Kirie, but Renove as well, because a situation like this, with 2 guns pointed at her, was not one that even a witch could just laugh off. But the witch laughed with pleasure.
そりゃあ、先代様の使い古しの家具じゃ無理で当然ね。私には私にふさわしい新しい家具じゃないとダメよ。
Oh no, this
私
smells bad.
もともとお風呂は嫌いなの。
As she said that, she looked down at Belphegor's remains, which had already finished turning into a pile of gold dust with disgust.
何の話をしてるかわからねえぜ。おとなしく両手を上げやがれってんだ。
Then the witch obediently raised her hands. But instead of raising her hands because a gun was being pointed at her, they forgot the T in there, it looked more like she was a conductor facing an orchestra, waving her conductor's baton.
さあさあおいでなさい。私にふさわしき家具たち。あんな安っぽい家具じゃなくて、もっともっと強力な残酷な。
Damn, we've been getting introduced to a whole array of new characters in this episode.
妙な真似はやめて。引き金を引くわ。
Honestly, just do it already. But too late. Here we go. I have a feeling of what we might be seeing here. In response to the witch's call, the hall was once again buried with the color of gold. As the brilliantly radiant gold butterflies danced, it felt as though they were being sucked into an ocean of gold leaf. Renove was shocked at that upsurge in magical power. After all, it far surpassed that of his former master. As their eyes were dazzled amidst this golden flash, a gunshot could be heard. Either Rudolph or Kirie had fired a round. Then, when the golden flash subsided, at the very least, the witch was standing there looking cool and composed. The bullet? Kirie must have fired it into her, but the witch had not been hit anywhere on her body. There it is. The bullet had been fastened in midair right in front of the witch's chest.
防弾結界
In an instant, a barrier that would require a significant amount of preparation even for the predecessor had been... Renove's face was twisted in shock. And the surprises did not end there. Oh man, what do we got coming here? The cloud of gold butterflies had created 2 humanoid forms. Oh no, and they're colorful and anime-like. It was a furniture summoning. Okay, not really what I was expecting entirely there, but okay. Also, not at all what I was expecting earlier. I guess my inner prediction failed. Thought we were going to get an OG FMA sort of thing going on here. If you guys know what I'm talking about, you guys know what I'm talking about, but I'm going to keep the rest of it for myself. The butterflies peeled off and flew away, and beneath them, furniture in the shape of girls showed themselves. What strange attire, too. Like, I don't know how I feel.
シエスタの姉妹兵先代様でもおいそれと呼び出せなかったペンドラゴンの記念兵をいともたやすく
But they also have a name?
シエスタ410ここにシエスタ45ここに
Okay, but they don't. Okay, well, I just heard that, so I guess let's read up a little bit, shall we? God damn it, this fucking map here is getting crazier and crazier as we go. Okay, so Chiester 45, a weapon in a contract with Beatrice. 45 has an extremely meticulous and timid personality and is fairly paranoid. For that reason, she compensates well for the weaknesses of 410's slapdash personality when they work as a pair. Cannot bear silence and even becomes emotionally unstable unless she is constantly being given orders. 45 excels in enemy search and being decisive. The sister's battle power is doubled by her support. And then we have Chiester 410, or 410, I guess. A weapon in contract with Beatrice. 410, I'm going to say 410, is a kid with character who has a unique and brazen way of speaking. Her hobby is teasing serious and uptight people, which is why she likes 45 and Lucifer. Rough-spoken, but loves company and easily succumbs to loneliness, gets depressed unless there is someone constantly giving her attention. Okay, so 45 has the issue of needing orders, and 410 or 410 needs just attention in general. But she excels in firing control, and even in close-range combat, exhibits battle power that is second to none. Well, this whole situation has gotten a whole lot more interesting, hasn't it?
私にふさわしい家具なんでしょうね。絵本の朗読から同伴デートに隕石撃墜まで幅広くお答えしますよ。
I will, yeah, I'll take all those other things, I guess.
お答えしないと竜王様に怒られます。何卒ご命令を大ベアトリーチェ卿。
ルドルフさん、逃げましょう。こいつらはダメだわ。
You know, wherever fucking Hideyoshi is, right? Kirie definitely heard warning sirens going off in her head, thanks to the same feeling that had alerted her to the ambush by the Seven Sisters of Purgatory. Without hesitation, they escaped. As the witch elegantly watched them leave, she commanded her new furniture,
命令よ。逃げた二人を殺して、そして死体をここへ持ち帰りなさい。そしたら生き返らせて何度も遊ぶのよ。
Of course you will. Okay, I don't want to hear that. The witch's expression twisted into an evil smile. Even though she feared that expression, Lucifer appeared and spoke.
恐れながら先代様よりそのような残酷行為は慎むようにと。
Yeah, she kinda doesn't care. When the witch stared at her with those terrifying eyes, Lucifer was struck dumb. She was frustrated. It was so boring not being able to let her own power and cruelty run wild. This annoying furniture of the predecessor kept telling her to show restraint, bringing her irritation to a peak.
傲慢のルシファーちゃんじゃない。お久しぶりに元気？
Yeah, apparently there seems to be a bit of a connection between those two.
また今度一緒に遊びましょうね。410、シェゴはダメです。怒られます。 大ベアトリーチェ教のご命令を迅速に遂行を。にひ。
I'm getting Chaos Head vibes with the pink-haired one.
お仕事の時間だに。410 了
What the
解。
fuck?
追撃狙撃戦準備。地形データ収集。射撃用データ収集。
Okay, this is backwards, but I'm kind of struggling to really read this.
410へデータリンク。410データ受領。標的を捕捉。地形誤差修正。射撃曲線形成。制御点補正完了。
Okay, I see. Alright.
45へデータリンク。45データ危険区域確認。は、そこはダメです。
I don't think it's overly important to read what all that was, but
バックファイヤで焼けるよ。にひ。
this is a whole nother level of wacky bullshit, isn't it? Thanks to their paired measurements, the Chiester sisters were able to instantly calculate the terrain throughout the mansion and the coordinates of their targets, as well as a firing curve to reach them. That's right, their shots could be guided to follow a curved line. None could escape. The precision guidance used by the Seven Sisters of Purgatory was nothing more than a cheap knockoff of the ability these two held. Oh no.
射撃準備完了。弾手選定。装填。
As the two of them faced each other, it was as though they were both pulling back a bowstring together. A dazzling gold arrow was readied there.
410。にひ。射撃。
After giving that announcement, they released a single arrow together. And it's gonna fucking chase after these two, isn't it? As the path taken by the gold sparkling snake of light drew a curve, it followed the direction that Rudolph and Kyrie had escaped to in rapid pursuit. It turned around, or it turned through the corridors, crawled over the floor, chasing them as it drew a beautiful curve. No one could block the guided shots of the Chiester sisters. No one could escape from them. And their strength could pierce all physical and magical defenses. It was quite a merciless guided weapon of certain death. However, among mythical class soldiers, it was a weapon used by pretty much everyone. Yeah, totally, right? Even I've used it. It was very commonplace for them, and very extraordinary for those of the everyday world. When he noticed something rapidly chasing them and turned around... Oh, goodbye, Rudolph. You are dead. The exact position of Rudolph's heart was pierced by the gold snake. It all happened in an instant. After the gold snake pierced Rudolph, it swooped down to the floor, drawing a beautiful spiral, coiled itself around Kirie's legs, and crawled up to her chest. And she's out. And just like Rudolph, it pierced the exact location of her heart. And all of that happened in an instant. It pierced Rudolph, and then Kyrie. So they died, dropped to their knees, and fell over at almost the exact same time. Damn. Just straight talking shit.
飽きるまで何度でも蘇らせて思いつく限りの残虐な殺し方を試してやるの。はあ、魔女がこんなにも楽しいなんて、命を奪うことがこんなにも楽しいなんて。
From the time humans are born, the most shunned action they can take is the murder of another human. It's only natural that humans can't understand how pleasurable it can be to break this taboo. But she was no longer a human. She was a witch. And there were some pleasures that only witches could understand. By now, she had tasted those pleasures and was totally immersed in them. After learning that the contents of the forbidden pot were honey, she could no longer live without them. No, maybe the contents were honey because they were forbidden. Anyway, by killing humans gruesomely, and doing it over and over, she could feel the drug-like pleasure even now. As the witch rolled over laughing, the gold snake that had just been shot returned as though being reeled in. At the tips, two people were pinned and dragged along. How lovely. The witch's order had been fulfilled. Rudolph and Kirie had been killed instantly, and their corpses had been carried back.
シエスタ45、410、命令遂行を完了しました。大ベアトリーチェ教の次の命令を待ちます。どうかご命令を。赤ん坊のおもりからネトゲのお相手。スペースシャトル撃墜まで何でもお答えしますよ。
Wait, online gaming? That shouldn't be a thing yet. What the fuck?
こいつらは第4の番と第5の番の生贄らしいの。だから最後には役立たずの7姉妹。ああ、もう5姉妹か。こいつらを額と胸に刺してえぐらなくちゃ
Yeah,
な
I guess we are down 2 sisters now.
でもそれを最後にすればいいんであって、それまでを私がどう遊ぼうと勝手よね。
I wonder what happens if she actually runs out of stakes. Like if the others were able to fight back in a similar way that Rudolph and Kirie were able to.
待て待て待て待て。そなたはわらわの言っていたことをもう忘れたのか。
Yeah, she's not listening to you.
おや、これは先代様、何か文句でもおありですか？
あるに決まっておろうが、そなたはやりたい放題ではないか。なぜにわらわの言いつけが聞けぬのか。
やりたい放題で何の問題があるのですか、先代様。それに私は儀式のルールを逸脱しようなんて気持ちはこれっぽっちもありません。
It's just, you know, from A to B, she's doing things a little, you know, her way.
ちゃんとこの二
But
人
she'll
の
get
死
to
体は
be, you know,
後できれい
the
にして
same way
額
that
と胸に
Beatrice
杭
would,
を打
right?
ち込んでおきますから。
そういう問題ではないというに。あまりに品がなかったり残酷だったりするとだな。
Where the fuck is Hideyoshi?
気を悪くする者もおるかもしれぬし。
先代様がどこかで戦っているとかいうゲームの相手ですか？どの上に聞きました？
You know what this is actually probably going to do, now that I'm thinking about it? You know, ignoring all of this shit, but, I think Hideyoshi is gonna get blamed.
ちょっと目に余ると、その、講義を受けてな。
先代様にわざわざ伝言などさせず、直接講義にいらっしゃればいいのに、臆病な方です。
こことは、その、異なる世界の住人だからの、わらわを返さねばならぬのだ。まあ、とにかくだな。
ということは、その方は私に何か干渉したくてもできない。そして私も干渉したくてもできない。それくらいに遠い世界の無縁な方との認識でよろしいですか？
Or is this just Beatrice with a really poor ass excuse for why she wants her to tone things down?
例えるなら、とても近い2本の平行線の世界。
Unless she's actually talking about Battler
とて
here.
も身近な世界なのだが、平行線ゆえに2本の線が交わることは決してない。そんな世界と、とりあえずは認識してくれればよい。
交わらないということは、私とは関係ない世界のことということです。もしその方の代弁で私に自重しろとおっしゃられてるのでしたら、その方に交互伝言をお願いします。
I mean, she would if she could, I guess.
あやつにか？なんと伝える？
余計なお世話だよ、消えろよ、ババア。
Damn.
へそでも噛んで死んじゃえば。
失礼しました。先代のお友達でしょうから、多分女性だろうと想像しただけです。ババアと言っても、決して先代様のことではありませんから、どうかご容赦ください。
I guess you could have interpreted it, you know, either to her, to Battler, to Vergilia, to us. Whoever wants to be an old hag, right? When she spoke, the witch was looking straight into Beato's eyes. Anyone present would be able to tell what she meant by it.
先代様?
Yeah, she got the message
と
across,
て
I
も不思
think.
議に思うことがあります。どうして先代様は、その別世界の方とゲームをして、魔女だと認めてもらわなければならないのですか？
それはだな。すべての人間に魔女の存在を認めさせることが、完全なる支配につながるからである。
Which she was able to get out of episode 2, I'm pretty sure.
一人頑固者
It's just episode 1 is still the
どうあ
holdup.
ってもわらわを魔女とは認めんのだ。
どうしてその人間の認可が必要なのですか？ 魔女が魔女であり、魔法を振るうことにどうして人間に認められる必要があるのですか？
I mean, that's actually a valid question that Beatrice herself is probably trying to get across here.
私は魔女です。別に誰の認可がなくとも魔法が使えますが。何？
この世界ではな。しかしだな。それをあやつが認めない以上はその。なんと説明すればよいのか。
説明いりません。だって決して交わることのない別世界の話じゃありませんか。それはつまりない世界も同じということです。
I mean, there could be the concern of like, if things don't pan out like they're supposed to, like what we've seen in episode 1 and 2, where all the people die in the way that they're supposed to and all that, there would be a disruption, a possibility where things will actually be in Battler's, favor for this game here. And then this talk about parallel worlds and magic and all that will be for naught.
重ねて言います。私と関係ない話です。そして私はもう魔女です。先代様はどうやらその何者かに認めてもらえないと魔女になれないようですが、私誰に認められずとももう立派な魔女です。先代ということであなたに形式的な敬意は捧げますが、それは私の行為であって義務ではありません。もう私はあなたの助言など求めていないし。
Yeah, here we go.
これからどうすればいいか、どう遊べばいいか、はっきり分かってます。だから13人殺しの儀式まではあなたへの最後の敬意だと割り切って行います。しかしそのやり方やその後のことについてはあなたに口出しされる言われは全くありません。そういうことで一つよろしくお願いします。
At a glance, those words seemed obedient, but they contained within them a clear parting of ways. She was no longer under Beato's care in any way. That's why she was clearly saying nothing more than, "Don't get in the way of my fun." Beato understood that, and was dejected, realizing that no matter how she explained it, it wouldn't be able to make the witch understand.
そうか。ならばわらわはもう知らぬぞ。魔法は敬いの気持ちなくして存在できぬことを身をもって知るがいい。
あなたがこれまでに縦横無尽に暴れてきたそれがどう敬いがあったのか教えてほしいものです。
After hearing that, Beato could not respond, because she remembered hearing exactly the same thing from her teacher.
シエスタの姉妹、先代がお帰りよ。先代様、どうぞこの場はお引き取りを。でないと私たちが叱られます。
Throughout her body, Beato felt something unseeable from the Chiester sisters, which could only be described as an oppressive sensation. Most likely, they were initiating firing calculations. It was an action much like taking out a gun and cocking it. Even Beato could not escape from the Chiester sisters' attacks without any preparation. In the past, she had placed her greatest trust in them, so she knew how terrifying they were down to her very soul. Why do they call her that? Like, other than the fact that, yes, her name has been moved forward, but like, does it have to be predecessor Sama?
わかった。わらわはこれにて退場する。そなたがどのような顛末をたどるか。ゆっくり。
It was almost infinitely close to a parting shot. So after Beato vanished, the witch and her furniture doubled over laughing.
まあ、わかる。無限の力は楽しい。有限の極みである命を自在にもてあそぶ快楽は味わったことのないものには説明できぬ。その快楽に取りつかれる気持ち。
I mean, yeah, there's going overboard. Like, I don't know. I mean, I don't know how necessarily alcoholics become, alcoholics, but once you, get a taste of that alcohol and you make it more of a habit, I mean, you can overdo things, right? And it's like that with anything. Like, you overdo something that you're not supposed to because, you know, you find some sort of enjoyment, pleasure, joy, whatever in that something, but there's a limit. But then there's also the deal here with Beatrice, you know, she's making up this and that. She's trying to limit how much in terms of violence that she's just kind of pouring on. It's not looking out for her in the same sense that, you know, some friends would come over to an alcoholic's place for an intervention or anything like that. This is just, she doesn't want her to be the way that she was because that pushed Battler away.
さぞや楽しかったでしょうね。かつてのあなたのはしゃぎぶりを見る限り。
あれがかつて何度も諭そうとしたお師匠様と、それに耳を貸さぬわらわの姿だというのか。
なぜあの子の行為を咎める気になったのですか？
それは
あなたにはあの子と大きな違いが一つあります。あの子はすでに魔女かもしれない。もちろんあなたも魔女です。ゲーム版の上の世界では。しかしゲーム版の外の世界で魔女だと認められるには、ゲームの対戦者であるバトラ君に認めてもらわなくてはならない。あなたはそれを理解してゲームを始めたはずです。
魔女である証拠を暴風のように見せつけ、わらわを拒否する気持ちを吹き飛ばし、屈服させればわらわを。
But obviously that has not worked out, hasn't it? None of that has.
前回うまくいきかけたので、もう一息だと思ったのだ。
実際は逆です。バトラ君はあなたの残忍さに呆れ果てていました。そしてゲームの対戦者として登壇したのは、あなたを対等な対戦相手だと認めたからではない。残忍な魔女の存在を一切認めないという強い敵意に基づいてです。愚かなあなたはバトラ君が対戦者の自覚を持ってくれたことを、自分を魔女だと認めさせる第一歩のように感じていたのでしょう。
Yeah, but not necessarily, huh?
実際は全くの逆。
It was the first step in making him, you know. Yeah, exactly. It's the opposite of acknowledgement. He is playing this game in order to prove her completely wrong.
浅はかな北風がいくら吹きつけようと、旅人はマントをより深く着込むだけ。あなたは大きな間違いを最初から犯しているのです。このゲームはバトラ君を屈服させる拷問などではない。あなたがバトラ君に認めてもらうために努力する試練なのです。
And I guess you can argue that in a way, even so, a whole lot of the details are still completely covered in mystery. Beatrice is kind of taking the L in this one. Like, for the first time ever, you can argue, despite all the magic we've seen, all the crazy bullshit that we continue to see, like what we just saw for the past hour here, Beatrice is kind of taking the L, right? Like, because with the idea that we can just say, no, that's not really happening and just move onward, we don't need to argue how things could have gone down each and every time. He's going to move towards continuing to reject everything that he sees and move towards trying to find where, in the middle of all of this, is that one thing that proves all of this is bullshit.
うすうすはよ、気づいてたさ。
前回はバトラ君にとって辛いゲームでした。
Yeah.
しかし、
Episode 2 was that was a real crazy ride.
あなたにとって辛いゲームです。
わらわはこれからどうすればいいのだ。
あなたが自分で考えるのです。幸いにもあなたはもうゲーム版の駒を降りて新しき魔女に委ねました。じっくりと自らについて思案する時間があるでしょう。
バトラはもうヒッピーの塊じゃねえかよ。
I mean, for the time being.
魔女は認めない。そしてわらわも認めない。それでどうやってバトラに認めてもらうんだよ。北風でダメなら今からのこのこ太陽で照らせっていうのか。このわらわが今さら。
今は10月。 ハロウィンの季節ですね。
Yeah, I mean, we found that out in the last episode too.
太陽
Shit.
が死に再びよみがえる再生の月です。よみがえったばかりの弱々しい太陽は冬の木枯らしに遠く及ばないでしょう。しかしじっくりと成長し、やがては春の訪れを告げることができる。その時旅人はマントを畳むこともあるかもしれない。
わらは間違ってるという。
Yes. We've actually... You've been told that actually for a while now. I'm pretty sure Virgilia gave that as a hint to Beatrice at some point as well. Okay, well, we will wrap it up on that one. We are still in chapter 14, so I'm sure we'll be able to finish that one up in the next one. But wowzers, what a wild one this was. We continue to get introduced to more wacky and wild characters. I mean, in this episode alone, we've seen a lot on the magical side. Those new Chiester characters, we've seen a lot more of the 7 Purgatory Sisters as well. We got to meet Renove in this episode. We got to meet the OG Beatrice in Virgilia. And I guess you can argue that Ava Beatrice is also a whole new character. So we've gotten to know quite a few more characters in this one. It really is kind of alarming, and I'm sure we're not even at the end of meeting more wacky and wild characters on the magical side. I'm sure as we continue onward, the cast is just going to continue to grow, and the connections with all these characters are going to get wacky and more complicated, and it's going to be a goddamn mess. But I'm here for it, right? We're all here for it. Anyways, thank you all for tuning into this one. I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, all that fancy jazz, and I will see you all in the next one. Take it easy.